Welcome back to the Elevate Your Best podcast. My name is Michael Danklefs.
And I'm Bruno Martins, and today we're going to talk about how assumptions lead to frustration.
Indeed. And I know that we've talked about never make assumptions or don't make assumptions in a previous podcast, but this is a follow-up because it seems relevant to what we're working through right now. Bruno, I guess, where's a space right now where you're making assumptions and it's leading to your frustration?
Michael, as I know some of our conversation that we have, I know you might be referring to the business opening, right? Yes, guys, I'm opening a business. It's a burger shop. It's a burger shop. And I don't see myself making lots of assumptions there. Michael, can you explain to me what are the assumptions you might have noticed that I might be unaware of?
Absolutely. So I didn't say where you are making assumptions. I said where assumptions are leading to your frustration, because the assumptions isn't necessarily always going to be you. It can also be the other people that you're involved with. So I know that you are building a business and a partnership. And if you are thinking you're heading in one direction and your partner is thinking you're heading in another direction, you're not clear on that, an assumption is being made on both parts, that you assume the other person knows what you're thinking, what you're feeling, where you're seeing this is going.
I understood, Michael, what you meant. Yeah, there might be some assumptions that need to be fixed. How am I dealing with it? I don't know if that's the most useful thing to start with right now, but how am I dealing with it? I'm trying to align our visions. I'm trying to be like, I have a plan, I have a vision that is a roadmap. I like to say it like a roadmap. And in my roadmap, I can see step by step what's going on. And for example, we could have started with a much lower cost and lower risk in our business shop right now. We could have opened a smaller place. But my partner, what happened, what I believe you are mentioning, he then saw a bigger point in a better location, and he made an effort to acquire this point that he was not making before for us to set the other place together. He just put much more effort than we would need to that place, and it was suddenly possible for him. It was suddenly possible for him to do this effort. And why was that? Because he suddenly saw the vision complete. He needed to have a better vision of what we are building, and he didn't make the effort to go to the next step, like a previous step. We move forward a lot because now we have a better point. We acquire some tables and other structural material that it's necessary, but then we increase the risk a lot, because now we put money into the business, and there are some things that needs to be done into the real estate. So we now increase the risk a lot. So that's what I believe you are mentioning, to expectation leading to frustration, because we had different paths to do the same thing, which is opening the business. And what I'm doing to deal with that is that I'm improving my communication with him. I'm realizing that I need to put more things that are clear in my head, that sometimes I don't realize that other people don't know it. Like, it's obvious, but other people don't know what's going inside here. And I need to communicate better with him on what are the steps and why we are moving forward on the way that we are doing. I don't know if that answers your question.
So I hear a lot about what you're explaining his fault. And at the end, you're now talking about your remediation, what you're doing to fix that. But where was the gap for you in the initial communication that your partner wasn't on the same page before you took a step, before you took an action?
The challenge there was, I don't see that as I could have acted more and tried to prevent this, yes, but I don't see that as a lack of mind. Why? Because I communicated with him. I communicated with him. Like, hey, there's a reason for us to go small and find a place to just start with deliveries. It is because we need to start lean, very lean, with low cost. There are challenges that people usually choose to face because we tend to think that things must be hard in order to be worth it. And that's not true. Things can be easy. Things can be leveraged with little effort and can be running with little maintenance. And my proposal for him was we get a small place where we don't receive people and we just focus on delivering. And with this money, we then move to a bigger place. But he was going with it, okay, yes, but still insisting into finding another point. Like we need to look, we can look a little further. And then when he saw this place, it's like he started believing that the thing was actually possible and real. It's more, what am I trying to say? I had a plan, I communicated the plan, and I even talked to him. But he just put on action when he could see it better. He could acquire the vision. So the steps towards the vision was like the gap. And this is something that I notice with many people that I work with. Sometimes the gap, the steps, it's like they want to jump it. But when you jump it, you increase so much the risk. You can do it so lean. The thing can go with little investment and can grow and give you money. Just need some adjustments and know that changing is fast. Because if change is slow, then you get stuck in a small place where you just do deliveries. When people commit with something, it's like they just can commit with something that is permanent. It's not, I don't feel much. I feel an ability on myself that I acquired that I don't see in other people, that I can get a small place here for a week, a month, maybe 2 months, leverage the money to go to a bigger place and see this changing happening quickly, which is something that I don't quite see in other people. I see more like a feeling that when we put something together, it's going to be there for a while. And it's not going to change for a while. And of course, I could have a better communication and be more persuasive. But when he found the point, there were so many things there. He got enchanted by it. And I also went into the wave as well. And I got excited and everything. But one thing, Michael, that I noticed is that the same way that he was not seeing the vision enough to put on effort in the steps before, some people that were not sure if they would buy or not, they passed by yesterday and they're seeing the excitement in people from the place that we found. And for them, I noticed that it's a great perk for the clients to also be able to see more of what's to come. That is going to give us a lot of energy. Was that an answer to your question? Was that nice or?
It went there a little ways. So what I'm hearing and what you said was you had a vision, you had steps you were going to take. And the only way that it was going to be able to get it so that he was going to be on board is for you to persuade your partner that this is the route we need to go. But that's not a partnership then. That is you telling him how it's going to be done. And if you're in a partnership, if it's a romantic partnership or a business partnership or a friendship partnership, it's collaboration and co-elevation, which both of us know is that you come up with a third option that's better than the first two. Otherwise, you have one person acting one way and another person getting upset that they acted in a way that wasn't the way that they wanted, because there's an assumption there that both of you are on the same page. There's a miscommunication there. You know, yes, there's going to be some leadership, there's going to be some work through there, but where the assumption comes in for me and why this was important for us to talk about is I hear where you are disowning the fact that you assumed and it was all your partners. Yes, it can be on both sides. And that's, I wanted to open this up to the possibility that both of you made an assumption. And at this point, it seems that your blinders are on. Your blinders seem to be on of, I had a plan and he didn't stick to the plan.
And what would be this assumption?
That your plan was the only way to do it.
It was not. I went to his way. I done things his way. My plan was just leaner, involved less risk, required less investment, and would generate less revenue. It's just a different plan, but we didn't do things my way. And one of the reasons why I allowed this purchase, because it's not my money, it was his money. But I could say, hey, bro, as we are partners, I could say, hey, like, this is not a smart decision. Was exactly not to be in the partnership setting out the terms. I don't want to be like, oh, things need to be my way. It's your money. You want to do it? Yes, I spoke with him about the risk. This increases the risk. I didn't had all the conversations that I would have, that we had from there to now, because it was very fast. And the guy that sold us was putting a lot of pressure to sell. But we found out that there were some surprises there, nothing that we can handle. But one particularity is like this, like I am solving all the challenges. I am solving all the things, like getting the people that will fix this, that. And it's not like I have the only plan, is that I trust my plan because they are sound. They are experienced, and I
So,
get things done.
so what experience do you have in opening a burger?
I actually had a client that had a burger shop for lots of years. I had two clients that had burger shops, but one of them was like right in front of my place. I helped him a lot with the team and even recruiting people. So yeah, I don't have experience making burgers and everything. We have someone that has, but I am familiar with the business.
So you didn't answer the question that I asked. You said that you
Yes.
have helped run a burger shop once it's already started and running, but you haven't had experience starting a burger shop. Okay. So
Yeah.
once again, it's that you stated your plan is sound. That's an assumption. If you have not actually practiced that strategy in order to get a particular outcome. Once again, it's an assumption.
What if it's not? I don't usually straightforward disagree with people, but this point is like, it's not an assumption, Michael. Let's put the things together. If we rent a place that has $100 rent, $100 rent, and it's a small place, we have this option. We had this option. And we just put the equipment that we already have, and we would require investment in 3 tables to put the equipment in 2 tables, and then a different wooden table for us to record the podcast, get together, put our notebooks there, work and record the podcast. This is a lean investment. It's not an assumption. It is a
So,
lean investment.
which is based on knowledge, but where do you personally have experience starting a lean business?
Why is this? Sorry, Michael. I don't understand the question.
So you are saying this plan is sound. I know it's sound. It's up here. I can say after reading any of these books behind me that I know after reading the book exactly how to do the thing that book says. That's knowledge and not wisdom. Knowledge is gaining of the idea of it. Wisdom is the experience of putting it to action. If I'm going to say I know the plan is sound, it has to have been tested. It needs to have actually gotten results. You need to say that I know that this plan works because it's worked in these 5 places. Otherwise, you are assuming. Otherwise, you are assuming that the plan is sound based on your logic. That doesn't necessarily mean in the environment that it's in, with the product that you're selling, with the style of doing that thing, that without a doubt, 100%, that is a sound plan. You're making it up.
I don't understand the focus that is given in the questioning that is being made.
Okay.
And I don't know, I do not think that I am making things up. There are several things that I could mention. Let's get into the most intriguing, let's say it like that. I missed the word. There are quantum physics and everything, lots of complicated equations in mathematics, and we have the capacity to create equations that without all of the elements in the equation, accurate predictions can be made. So this goes from how many galaxies that are out there, how many stars goes into the galaxies, as to, oh, I'm gonna start a business. Let's make some math here. Or how many, an average income streams does a millionaire have? There is an average there. And when you see an average of X income streams, you can make an assumption that person must be in X level of wealth. And here's the thing, we do have numbers. I don't want to go through all the numbers. We did some research. My partner actually had a burger shop before. We did some marketing campaigns. We did a little research, not much. I did some research with people personally. There were some 20 people that I interviewed, 20 persons. I did some online research that I don't even know right now because I'm not followed for a while. Let me just get the number where we have 54 people that research. So we gather a little bit of data. So in this data, we made an assumption that because it is like a prediction, that we would have X number of sales. And then we calculate the cost that we are going to have. And if this cost is very low and it's very easy to hit, well, let's make a prediction, because I said assumption, but in this case, it's more called a prediction. I believe the word that it would be used would be a prediction. If the predictions that we do, all the predictions are above the cost that we would have, that's a lean business. It's a sound plan. It's low risk. That's what I'm saying. It's low risk. Doesn't mean that there is no risk. Doesn't mean that it will succeed. It will be right. It means that the risk of going wrong is low. And when we acquire lots of items and we do an investment, and now we have to run to retrieve money that we put into the business. And not only that, our monthly cost is higher on the predictions curve. And now all the predictions are not above the cost. And there are some predictions that are below the cost line. Even in the best scenario, it might be tight. Then we don't have such a sound plan. That's what I want to say. Perhaps I'm expressing myself poorly, but what I want to say is that we have higher risk. The sound plan that I say, it has a better footing. Like the steps are more sure because that is low risk. And yes, we needed to improve on communication. Yeah, but I don't see the decision so seriously, Michael, because I think that there are some challenges to be faced, but they will be solved. But if I was not there, I don't think that they would be solved. And for what I am witnessing, because this taking action, this movement, this rush that is necessary, visualizing what needs to be done, I'm very much understanding that the people that are around me in my team, they have a hard time into visualizing the future. For example, people went to help us there, and I was cleaning the kitchen and the things on the kitchen. And then when I got out, everybody was putting water out. And I was like, guys, why are you putting water out? You don't need to do this effort right now because we're going to put more water inside. We put all the water out at once. We need someone to clean that furniture, help with this. And then I realized that I had to give missions to people because they were just mindlessly working without attention to the consequences of what is my work representing to the overall progress of this. I don't know if we are on how we are on the content.
We're totally inside of the content because the frustration's here.
I just don't know. I'm so comfortable with frustration then that I'm like not.
So here's the distinction I want to make is you use
Yes,
two different
please.
words in the right places. There's an
Yeah.
assumption and then there's a prediction.
Yeah.
So a prediction is based on the data you then projecting forward, what you predict based on the points of reference you have, the data that you've collected, that this is where you're going to go based on the actions taken and the response from those actions that you can predict that versus assuming. And here's where I'm challenged here. Yes, you've worked on the marketing plan for a burger shop. Your partner has run a burger shop, has been in the operations of it. And you've got the sound plan and he doesn't know what he's talking about because he made an action that was going to require more risk, was going to require more investment from someone who has experience running the operations of the shop. That to me is assuming that your plan is better and his plan is worse. And yes, I get that there's more risk. The numbers may actually play out differently. And yet there's this innate ability that comes when you've been in doing the work, that you feel the rhythm of what needs to go on and you take a risk when you feel it's going to get you to the result that you've created in the past. And where I'm challenged with this is I hear you talk about doing the marketing side of things, but never working the operations and wanting to, from a marketing perspective, tell operations how to do their job, which is a frustration of mine. Okay. So that I know that's a barrier coming up for me because I've been in operations for most of my life in an IT world. And the idea of marketing, selling something that operations can't deliver on is the constant battle whenever you don't have communication between two different departments or two different people. Because what happens in operations, the boots on the ground, the reality of what happens is very different than what you're going to get when you survey people, when you actually do research in what, this, that, and the other thing versus actually getting in and actually having the ideas of it. It's like a surveyor or a civil engineer who actually can draw up the schematics for a bridge, but they've never been out and put a brick down and actually put the mortar in and actually built a bridge. One gets it here, the other person gets it here. And it sounds like that's part of the disconnect between you and your partner. You get it here, he gets it here. And that in turn leads to frustration.
You know what? I think that there is a big lack of experience on his part. He's a young guy, early 20s. I think that there is a lack of skill on learning how to plan. Like, it's not that he did a bad plan. He did a good plan. It was just that we ended up with troubles that we didn't need to choose. And that's what I was trying to tell him before. It doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be that fast as well. It can grow slow, but people underestimate how fast slow can get. Slow can get very fast if you continue going forward, if you can stay in the game. That's a conversation I have with him. After buying this point, I was like, business is an infinite game. And I explained to him what is infinite and finite game from Simon Sinek's. He has a book on it. It uses game theory. And the thing is that I was explaining to him, we need to stay on the game. Like unlock your mic, Michael, so people can see the book, because right now it's showing only me. No. Okay. Oh, that book is okay. But the thing is, and I explained to him, hey, we need to acquire resources. The big players, they don't go out wasting money. They go hunting that are profitable hunts and that are wasteful hunts. We need to make sure our hunts are profit. But if you are always hunting with profit, the more you hunt, the more resources you acquire, we acquire. And then the better hunts we can go, because the best hunts, they waste money. They burn money. They don't waste, they burn money, but they yield more profit. And that is this lack of experience, this lack of planning, this lack of imagination, because seeing the thing growing step by step is a thing of imagination. And we ended up acquiring things that we needed to fix. The kitchen needs some fixing, the bath needs some fixing, the bathroom needs some fixing. Those are small things that we can do, but this will delay us 1-2 weeks. And we could be selling burgers 2 weeks from now. I would rather be selling burgers 2 weeks ago. And when the place will be ready 1-2 weeks from now, I would have a month selling delivered burgers, and I would have stabilized things. People will be knowing my product, and then I could move forward into a better space, because now we had a little bit of money from the business. The business could be on the positive already. And we don't need to choose challenges. I'm learning this, Michael. It's something very good that I'm learning, is we choose challenges. It's something that we don't notice. Michael is agreeing with me, but we don't notice, but we choose so much challenges. There are so many challenges in our lives that we could just say, you know what? No, thank you. And be done with it. Because those challenges, they take time, they take energy. And another thing that I had a conversation with my partner yesterday, Michael, was like delivering tasks and not spreading the effort too thin. because he wanted to solve some contracts and then to solve a lot of informations. And then someone was saying that we would need to be producing content about the launch. And I was like, guys, we need to deliver things. What's the thing to be delivered? This needs to be working. The shop is not working. The shop needs to be working because the shop needs to generate money. It's a waste right now. And we need to turn this into profit. There is a tipping point and we are almost there. We can't stop this here, put some woods to see if it stays on place and leave it there, go to solve all other things. What if it collapses? We would lose so much energy, so much effort. We need to make sure that this tips. And now we are working and we are generating money. And then we need to make another turn, which is to be on profit. We need to deliver this. And then I made a list of what needed to be done in order for this to be delivered. And we are going to try to get this together by tomorrow. And then I was like, explain, if we start doing content, create contracts, look this, that, we will start spreading our efforts that we don't deliver anything. And now we are balancing a lot of things and nothing has tipped to the other side yet that we need to. And we just get tired and the business is too much and we can't move forward anymore. So this is another thing that I talked to them and I think that it's very relevant.
So if I roll back the clock 4, 5, 7 years, when did you do that?
Why do you question? I
No.
don't remember, Michael, the references that where I learned things. I just know that I have this experience and this knowledge.
But I want to pick this apart a little bit. And I'm not saying, so
Okay.
there, pause for a second. There was a time whenever you did this overstretch thing that you're talking about, that now it makes you fearful of doing that again. Otherwise, you'd be in both feet and go for it the way that it's happening. So that's why I want to, there's a barrier here. That's what I feel on my side is there's a barrier here and you're dodging, deflecting, and evading instead of addressing the barrier.
And evading. I just feel challenged because it's like questioning, what's your credentials?
I'm not asking for your credentials. I'm asking when this experience happened in your past, when you did this, there was some time that, not around starting a burger shop. I'm talking about spreading yourself too thin. That thing that you are laying out for your partner, that this is a bad thing, that we're spreading ourselves too thin. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that, yes, you need to stay focused on deliverables. I'm 100% behind you on that. I'm asking when this showed up for you in the past because it's affecting your decisions now.
The thing that helped me learn to deal with that was when I started working with management and I needed to manage the marketing efforts of the last company that I worked on. So I did a lot of research on business. Business I always did. I'm talking about project management. And I wrote a lot of content about project management and I learned about Kanban and a lot of things like that and some methodologies and systems to make things run smoother. And some of this knowledge we use in the podcast. I did help some teams of people that I know, particularly designers, to help improve they work very well. And they were very grateful because they were managing things in WhatsApp. And I just noticed that this is the way everybody does things. So I already know that I can help people with that. And I help some people with that. It's people are managing things on WhatsApp, but WhatsApp is like this inbox that moves forward. And then you get to work and you need to ask what's the art that I need to do today. And then somebody needs to look for a message and things like that. When you create a Kanban board, the designer gets there, it starts working, and it already sees everybody that they have to do, every step on the way that there are things. Everyone on the team gets on the board and everybody knows, oh, this column is I that do this. The idea is my responsibility. I have to put some ideas here. And now that helps. And I've seen, Michael, I have witnesses. I have witnessed it. Many clients spread their efforts too thin. Many clients not finishing things. Many clients wasting resources. And I spoke with them a lot about this. and they just don't listen. It's like here in Brazil, for example, let's say that a restaurant that hired me, and he hired me, and I was like, you gotta do this and that in order to create a campaign. And he was like, no, I want to do this and that because it's gonna do right. And I was like, actually, if you do this and that, that's the result you're probably gonna get, because I probably had some experience. And I know by experience, because I tried this before, that the result that you are looking for is behind this and that. And he was like, no, I want you to do this. So I have witnessed some interesting decisions being made, and that helps me to know what's behind them in order to not make them in this business.
Got it. I hear you. So here's a question. Where do you apply that in what you're doing now?
Oh, it's much of a effort of consciousness and mindfulness to be present.
So how does being conscious and mindful and being present allow the whole team that you're working with in order to build up this shop to know what they should be working on without having you be the foreman telling people what to do?
Oh, I don't know if I can count on someone right now to do that, because I don't have a copy of me yet. And that's something that needs to happen in the business, in any business, or the founders, depending on the level of the founders, because I have another founder. I don't believe that he has the same skills and knowledge and experience that I do have. So I need to, probably the first person that I'll duplicate myself into in some aspects, like in the business, and he is the person that I'm talking the most, and I'm building, sharing the vision the most. Probably it's going to be him, but this is something that our business founders should look for, is where do I duplicate myself?
I'm
There are
asking
some
on a much more practical level.
uh,
You just gave me a scenario where people had no idea what they needed to do because it's just stream of consciousness and they had no tool or no organization to know what they need to be doing next. And once again, you're going to the level of vision, which I get. You're a visionary. That's one of your skills. But you just gave me a way for people in a team to know what they need to do. And the next thing you said was copying yourself, rather than dealing with the practical thing that's right in front of you right now, of having a board of all the tasks that need to happen, and where your stuff is put up on the board, so you don't need to go and talk to Bruno, and Bruno can actually get back to his life.
but the thing is that I believe that you asked, I understood poorly your question, because for me you asked, how do I do that in order that I am not there? And I thought that you meant that there would be someone else, but yeah, and we will have that. We'll have that. But right now, the people that are putting the hands at work is like cleaning, moving things around. So there is no a board or anything like that. But when we are working with content creation, marketing, because I already planned how things are going to be there. There is a kitchen, there is a space that we are going to turn into an office, and there is a space that's going to receive the clients. And in this space that we're going to turn into an office, there will be some tables there. And then we'll be inviting people that are willing to work, maybe some students to do an internship. And we're going to produce, the burger shop will pay for the marketing that we will produce. And there will be people there selling the same marketing to campaigns to other burger shops in the entire country.
So
This will be better managed.
I'm looking at slowing this. That's
Yes.
why I'm working at this. Is you've got this whole structure and organization on content creation, and then said we don't need that to run a kitchen. And one of the people I talk with is a kitchen manager moving into a general manager, and I bet you he would disagree with you after being in that industry for 14 years, that the organization of the kitchen is just as important as the organization to create content to support the business. I'm asking you to apply tools. And that's why whenever I'm asking you, what is your experience, is what experience do you bring to it? And you said, I can do this on the content side and project management, all this other kind of stuff, but it doesn't apply to the core of the business, which is the kitchen. So there's
But
this
I didn't
disconnect.
say that, Mike.
I asked you, is there a way to organize what needs to be done? And I don't need to do that. We can actually, we're going to use all of that organization for content creation.
What needs to be done now is moving things around, cleaning things, and fixing the kitchen.
And do you have a punch list of all the things that need to be fixed in the kitchen so people know what the next step is? I didn't say a budget, I said a checklist, a punch
No,
list.
I'm just giving you the information. Like, we have a budget. We did budgets with several people. And the challenge that is in our conversation, the greatest challenge that I'm seeing right now is that it's just too much information that I didn't have time to share with you, to have a better visualization of the scenario that we are.
There's also a miscommunication here, because whenever I ask you for a punch list of what needs to be done, that is fix sink, put in gas line to stove, replace microwave, that's a punch list. It's the things that need to get done. And you said, I have a budget, which is where I'm going to spend money. There's a disconnect in the communication there. I'm asking you for the
Budget.
practical. You're at you. I heard you said
A
budget, but I
budget,
think you
I
mean
might have
proposal
used the wrong word. We
or
have
quote,
the cost of what's going to be done and the cost of things.
which is
Is not that a budget?
the budget generally is where you're going to spend your. If you have a quote that someone has given to you, fixing the sink is going to cost you $50.
We have quotes.
The
on
technician
things.
who's going to come in and fix the refrigerator, he's given us a quote or a proposal that it's going to cost $300. That would be a proposal. And then you could
Yeah.
fit that into a budget. So then you have people lined up to do those things. I get that. I'm asking, here's the part that why I'm pushing on this. I see you as wanting so badly to be a leader. And I want to support you in getting there. I think that it's a very powerful place to be. And some of the things that I hear on this side, which may be because of lack of information, is the ideas of delegating to people in a way that they feel enrolled in doing it in order to better the business, and because you ask them to. It's one of the key things about moving from level 1 to level 2 leadership, is understanding what motivates a person and then engage them in what motivates them to achieve the larger vision.
And you know what my question is about that? Why exactly do you think that's not there?
If you are sitting down and watching people screw off instead of cleaning, which was their project to be done, then they're not actually enrolled in completing the vision which you laid out for them. And you're getting frustrated because they're not doing it. That was part of our conversation yesterday. So if they were enrolled in the idea of this has to get done, so then we can start cooking burgers and actually making sales, because that's going to make our life better, they would be out doing everything they can every moment rather than sitting around BSing.
Isn't that an assumption? Yeah, because what happened is this, and I made this observation that I found it, I did an observation to Michael yesterday while we were in a call, that I asked everybody to take all the tables from the business out. There are a lot of tables there, into the front of the business, to the street. And while I was talking with Michael, then people started talking and getting distracted, and they just forget about the mission. And I was like, yeah, people already forgot about the mission. I wasn't so frustrated about that because I understand the people that I'm working with at the moment. And I was like, okay, like they already lost focus. And I know they keep losing focus. But here's the thing, it's the working force that is being deployed at the moment. They need someone to be remembering them, what needs to be done. And my business partner is the one that gets more distracted. And I need to be there like, hey, remember the vision, let's take action. And when I was there after our calls, like all the time, like, I need you on the kitchen, let's clean the kitchen. And I needed to, and then I went again, and he was there already distracted with something. And I was like, I need you on the kitchen, let's come to the kitchen. And the other people, they started to understand the necessity to take action, and they started following. I don't think that they are not engaged. I don't think that they are not motivated, that they don't see benefit for themselves in getting the place ready. I just think that they don't understand the rush. They don't seem to understand how we need to take action and stop talking and getting distracted. And yes, I left them alone for a few minutes, and they lost focus. And when I ended the meeting, I was like, hey guys, what happened? Like, you got distracted there and you forgot to take all the tables out. And they were like, it's excuse, Michael. People find excuse. We didn't want to interrupt your call. We didn't want to be making noises, but they were talking so loud. So it's an excuse. It's an excuse that people find to themselves. And it's okay. I feel like it's okay. I just need to remember them that things need to be moving forward. And nobody is taking more action than I am. And nothing inspires them more than seeing me taking action as they are right there standing.
Which I believe that you've actually mentioned to me, if it requires me to take an action, then I'm not leading. I'm acting. I'm in the doing instead of in the leading.
And
And
who says that the leader doesn't take action? I do believe that the leader takes the bulk of the action.
it can work that way as you're building trust with the team, yes. But as you actually move forward, if you are leading the team, yes, you can help people get up to a level of proficiency that you can actually then acknowledge them for the great work that they're doing. Once they're doing it for a period of time, you can go in and then reprimand them to get them back on track and review what the goals are. I get that. And there is a time for the leader to do that. But it's one of the biggest things that was a challenge for me on a men's team is when leading something, if you are in the doing of it, you're not then focusing on the bigger vision to look at the next 3 steps. Instead, you're in the doing, and it ends up being a distraction, to the point that for some of our events, we actually have whoever's leading that segment sit on their hands and sit down and help direct and guide people to create the vision. It's very similar to another exercise where you actually put someone in front of a table, put a blindfold on them, and put out ingredients and talk them through how to make cookies only by what you're telling them to do. You have one person doing, you have one person leading. Now, the person who's in the doing that's being led misses something if the person who's leading puts their hands around their waist and actually does it for them. They miss something. So that's what I'm saying is, yes, potentially showing them how it's done and getting in. I'm a person who wants to get in and do as well. But vision casting and holding that vision, help making sure that everybody sees it and they hear it so often that they get tired of hearing it, that they can repeat it back to you without you having to trigger it from them, is one of the biggest roles of the leader, is to hold the vision and to ensure that you're doing little corrections along the way to make sure everybody is heading towards that goal and that it's aligned with where they want to be and where they want to go to get the biggest benefit of being there. And that may very well be happening. That may be what's happening on the ground. But in most of the situations that I've seen, whenever the leader gets in and starts doing, it's because they're impatient, want to get it done right now, and they are robbing the person who they're leading of the lesson that they'll get by doing it themselves.
I believe, Michael, that this is the episode where I am feeling like, because sometimes you mention, oh, we disagree, and I was like, I didn't even notice. But this is something that I'm feeling like I don't quite agree exactly on what you say, but I should have expressed myself much better now. I could start with Michael. Can I propose a shift in your communication? Which is, I believe that what you're calling a leader, it's a shifting in the word. It's more like a guide. You're guiding. I understand this is a tool, this is an exercise. I'm going to sit here in my hands and I'm going to allow you to do. I think that this is an exercise. But is this exercise proper in our circumstances? Or there are people that need to learn how to be more like, how to give the people the opportunity to doing themselves, and they need to do this exercise. Because, and this is the thing where I was expressing that I don't quite agree, which is that the leader doesn't take action. I think that there is action to time to planning. There is time to take action, and even planning is taking action. Like some plannings are taking action. Like we stop there and we plan where we're going to put each table, because nobody has thought about the fact that the things that are there, when we took them out, didn't need to come back the exact same way that they were before. that we could rearrange the environment. And then we arrange the environment, we plan, we free the kitchen to the building that's gonna renovations that's gonna happen. And we're gonna use the other space. And I found a way for us to be working. And that's why we can speed up things. But I really believe that there is a great video we can mention here about the first follower, which is a great lesson on leadership. I believe you've seen this video. And the leader is dancing. The leader is dancing. And the leader is not the key aspect of the thing. The key person is the first followers, the two first followers. Followers attract followers. And the leader needs to be the first one to go out there. And then the first followers, they are the first one to follow the leader. And the first follower is a form of leadership because they take a lot of risk. They expose themselves. They can be ridiculed. But when there is more than 3 people, there is a crowd effect, and then the identity of the thing is more blurred. And now you can take more risks and more people follow. But so we need that. And everybody that is there taking action in a small team, for example, is somewhat of a leader. I just don't agree that the leader has a point where he doesn't need to be doing things because then he's going to be losing times. And I do believe that this is a challenge in many teams because the leader, they forget that there is some work there that they can be doing. And I do believe that for everybody on the team, if you are leading the team, all the works that you are leading, the leader needs to be able to do or understand how all the work that is under him is done in order to maintain the quality of the work. And if necessary, they need to go out there, get down on the trenches, on the hole that is being worked on, and put their hands on the thing and show what's done, how it's done. And this is my vision. I don't know. I might be wrong. You have more experience that I have on leadership, but it's more like the way I see things.
So do you believe that Steve Jobs put together a single iPhone, or Bill Gates actually wrote a single line of code in Microsoft Word?
But haven't Bill Gates and Steve Jobs done computers in the beginning of those companies?
They might have, yes.
Now sorry.
Yeah, they've then empowered the people to take it to the next step. Bill Gates did do computer science. He understood it. So what I'm getting at is that at the point of leadership, when is it right for you to be the person in scrubbing the floors versus actually lining up the contracts and ensuring that you actually have product and you actually have the right marketing people in place? Because where will your skills be the best used versus leading someone who they love to clean and you love to create content? At what point do you transition out of in the doing and into doing the leading? That's what I'm asking. Okay.
I have an answer. It's when I find somebody that I can trust that will scrub. When I find somebody that I can trust, this person will scrub the floor. I don't need to be here telling them to scrub the floor. They know. They understand their mission. Their mission is to scrub the floor. Now I can relax about scrubbing the floor. And then I'll have someone creating content. And when do I relax about creating content? When I find someone that I don't need to be there telling them to create good content. They just create good content.
Are you at that level with your partner right now?
No, but we will be there. We'll be there. We'll be there. It's a growth journey. We'll be there. There are a lot of challenges, but I accepted all the challenges, Michael. I am tired of being without resources. And I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get them. If I don't harm anybody, if I don't do anything like that is against my values. You mean if everything is going all right? Like people yesterday say, Bruno doesn't have shame of leaving. We were talking with the people that helped us yesterday. It's like Bruno doesn't have shame of life, something like that. And I was like, of course, bro. If you need help, ask for help. If there's something that needs to be done, ask it. If someone is upsetting you, tell them. And don't be ashamed. Don't have shame. If you want to create a business and build income, get out there, create a business, and don't be shameful of it. Like people will be pointing to you and say, look at that guy wants to be better than everyone else. And you're like, yeah, I want to be better. I want to improve my quality of life. Don't you want it? It's me that is wrong, or is it you that is? Don't be afraid. Don't be shameful. Accept that the things need to be done. Don't need to be accepting risks. You don't need to be irresponsible. Have a plan. Look for experience. Today, for example, I invited a friend that is experienced building. He's working a nearby building, like he's building a big building. And we invited him there to take a look at the budgets that we have. Was something overpriced? There was a better way to doing something. So get people that you can invite into the business to give you orientation. We don't know everything. I don't know about building. I don't remember the word. That is a word there when you're building things. I don't know anything about that. So why should I assume that I can, well, that would be an assumption. Why should I assume that whatever I decide to do is right? I need to ask somebody that has experience and everything. And that's something relevant for today, Michael. Everything that we do that we are not familiar with, recognize that we don't have familiar with and call somebody that has familiarity with that. And that person will tell you what you need. Just like we talk to people, invite a life booker outfitter like Michael to help you tailor your life vision. Why? Because he knows something about life vision that people usually don't.
Awesome. So that idea of asking for help is definitely a huge aspect. I agree 100%. And the idea of us understanding our strengths versus knowing where our weaknesses are, I'm totally on board for that. And that's part of what I'm looking here in provoking with my questions, Bruno, to actually see where potentially he's getting frustrated or expressing frustration for assumptions that have been made by him and assumptions that are made by others, is to provoke that response in some ways, to get to that level of thinking underneath. And what I really want to point out is that idea of feeling shame, because the community around you has said, what are you trying to be better than the rest of us? That can be a point of shame, or it can be a point of pride. And it sounds like for you, Bruno, that it's actually in some ways shifted from shame to pride. There's still something there. And I know for me, I'm still working through some of my own shame. So it's not a done deal. I was talking this past week on the idea of scars that we do, even when we talked about the 4 agreements and the wounds we get, and then we turn those into agreements. Those are the scars we have. And not always do those wounds we have heal over, that there tends to be a scar left behind. And that's what it sounds like that may be, that many of us experience. So where we can sometimes overcome that by working with other people to identify those scars, those barriers, those roadblocks, and then brainstorm for solutions to overcome them. And since it is a barrier, probably also a blind spot, we don't see that it's a barrier, even if it's right up in front of our face. It's still seen as a barrier because we can't even imagine what it's like to be on the other side. And that's where a counselor, a coach, a mentor, a consultant, a partner can actually help you overcome that. And to me, partnering with the person that you're in business with, the person you're in relationship with, your community, is a key aspect. Then you're actually able to fill in the gaps of where you may not have specific knowledge. And then trusting that getting someone's wisdom and applying it here has value. So I know I'm getting a little heated here, and I tend not to on our podcasts. And it's because this is something that is important to me, is I see how often people around me make assumptions on how things should be. I put that in quotes on purpose. There's nothing about how things should be. It's a matter of, this is an action taken, and this is the effect that's going to happen by it. So if you want a different effect, you have to take a different action, and really being aware of that. And everything that's led up to this point has been a series of cause and effect, action and response, or action and consequence, depending on the words that you want to use. So consequence tends to be in most people's heads a negative, There's always a consequence for what you choose to do, though. So how do we then shift this and release this frustration because of other people's assumptions? Bruno, you talked about communicating more. That's key. Asking questions, coming to a consensus that's going to serve both of you a win-win situation where it's not all mine and it's not all theirs. It's the best of both and maybe even better than what our original ideas are. But we need to be open to the idea that the partner that we're in for that session has just as much value rather than, hey, they don't know nearly as much as I do, which is tough for me because I tend to be stuck in my head.
But isn't it right for me to recognize that I am more prepared than other people that are involved in the business? Because I do believe that I am more prepared. I do believe I have more experience. And like, I work since 2012. I've worked directly with business owners. I had the opportunity for them to talk to me about their businesses. I saw the business that go right. I saw the business that go wrong. I saw what the people that were doing right were doing, and I saw what the people that were going wrong were doing. And I have clients that closed businesses. And I was warning them about what they were doing before they closed businesses. And I saw clients do decisions that were wasting money when I was telling them, hey, this is wasting money. And I do have this experience. This is something that I trust. And I might have been triggered in the beginning of the podcast because it's a big trigger that I have when people question me, like, where did you learn this? How do you know this? Because this is something that I've been all my entire life, since I was a kid. I believe that if I were in better circumstances, I would have been, I believe that I have a very nice mind, a very nice intellect, but I believe I could have been, if I had better conditions to study, I would have studied more art, music, and I believe I would be very well in these areas. But I was very good into solving things. For example, I don't remember if I told you this before, but my mother once called a VHS guy. She bought 2 VHSs because she wanted to rent the movie and record it. And I was this little kid, 7, 8 years, something like that. It's one of my earliest memories. And then this guy spent the whole night, Michael. He got frustrated trying to put the 2 things to work. And I was not even close of the thing, Michael. That's what surprises me today. They didn't even let me get close. They were like, get out of here. My mother, like, get out of here, Bruno. Like, get out of here. All the time, get out of here. You are on the way. And I was just seeing what they were doing. And I was like, Mom, try this. And she was like, you don't know anything. Let the man work. And then the guy got frustrated and he was like, I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And she was like, don't worry. And then my mother went like some 3 meters away to lead the guy to the door. And the moment that she opened the door, by the time she opened the door, say, don't worry. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye. See you later. I'll see what to do. She closed the door. When she came back, the thing was working. And doesn't matter how many things I fixed, doesn't matter how many things I did, doesn't matter how many things I did right. In my family, people would always not give me credit. And even in the work that came to me in the work, and I was always anxious and triggered when somebody was like questioning what I'm doing. So I might have been a little bit triggered when you're like, where do you have this experience? Where did you learn this? What led you to this? And this is an emotional charge that tempers the answers that I could have given you. But either way, I hope that they were good answers and that we could take nice insights from it. And that doesn't mean that I am perfect and that I know everything. It just means that I think of more things quickly than the average person does. And I do consider them and ponder them and make decisions. I think that they are well educated. They might not be. I might be deluding myself.
So you just went through a whole lot of stuff, and I get that this, like I said, I could tell that there's something underneath all of this. There's something that this triggers in you, and that's okay. The awareness is important, and then what you do with it as you change your response to the triggers. So for me, one of the key things I value is wisdom. And Insight is an amazing thing as well. Intuition is a great thing. To me, I want to temper that with wisdom, the experience that I had doing things. And yes, you've done some great things. And you've actually seen how things can work. And I'm not calling you for it in order to make you be wrong. I'm calling it out because I want to see if there's a pattern here. Because human beings are pattern recognition engines. We see how things connect. That's why we're able to correlate. Okay, if I eat the red berries that look like this, it kills me. If I eat the red berries that look like that, I feel nourished, because we can locate the patterns. And that's how we can go through the things like training animals to go through different things, is we can see the patterns that can take that animal to a different level. We're pattern recognition people. So if it's showing up now, it's probably shown up before, probably shown up many times before. And so part of where I like to play is, let's find that pattern. Let's trace that pattern back as far as we need to go, and then unravel that little piece if you want it to be different now. Because if you're not getting the results you're wanting, it's because you're not taking the actions you need to get the results. And that starts from somewhere. If it's a
And
belief, if it's a story, whatever.
and by the way, you might have felt some frustration indeed that I was feeling, and I might be feeling still. Not, but not exactly about the team and the team's work, because that I am satisfied with, because we are progressing. I already know that I have a lot of work to do with my partner and with the people that will be coming there to organize it and to make sure that they understand this is a workspace and things like that. I already know that. But what frustrated me was that I was feeling like all this trouble, we didn't need it that. We could have started easier. We could have started with less risk. And now we have a lot of things and a lot of challenges to solve. And the thing that most frustrated me was like, I know that most of these challenges, the people that are here and my partner, for example, doesn't even identify as a challenge. Like we all have a problem with water there, that the water doesn't have enough pressure to fill the reservoir. And we need to acquire a pump because when the water comes with pressure, it fills the reservoir. But when it doesn't feel to come with pressure, it doesn't feel. So we can be like running a place where when it feels like there is water, and he doesn't see that as a challenge. And I'm like, I've spoken with him several times. This is the biggest challenge that we have. He didn't want to buy the pump. And I was like, no, we need to buy the pump. And that's what frustrates me, is like seeing that I will have to take responsibility about those things. And if I'm not there to identify the important things and make sure that they are taken care of, the people that are there will not see them as such and will let them pass by. And that's something that I myself would not buy this problem, but I am involved in it. And now I'm more okay with it. I accept it because we have great progress and I'm seeing that things are moving forward, and my partner is more active today. Right now, for example, he's out there solving the fixing of the two fridges that we have. The one, like, I don't know the names. One is just for beers. The other one is like the one that you have duplex in your home. It's not actually fixing, they are not broken, but they are like they need some painting, some they are peeling, and they are old, so they need some scrubbing to take out there is a name of that brown thing that grows into iron, rust. They need to be scrubbed out of the rust that they have on the top and in some parts, and then they need to be repainted in order for them to be very nice to use, you know.
So can I offer a suggestion?
Yes.
You have the things that you have as a list of importance. You have a partner. Ask him what his list in order of importance is too. So then at least what each of your lists are. And then from that, pick the things that need to happen. And maybe you've obviously stated your case on the water side of things. Though, once again, I hear this chip, this conceit that my list of importance is more important than your list of importance. He doesn't think they're important, so he's not important. He doesn't know what he's talking about. There's a disconnect there because both of you are in this together, and knowing what your importance is and what you're going to work on, what his importance is and what he's going to work on, and maybe taking things from each other's list because you're more inclined and better suited to take on those things is another way to make that partnership work.
You know what I hear from what you're saying, and I think it's very interesting, that our recognition that I didn't took the time to hear him more, and not only communicating what needs to be done, but hearing this idea of making a list of what is important for me and what is important for him, and then putting those, establishing priorities and organizing this information in a way that it's clear to everyone. I didn't think indeed to do this about the cleaning and stuff. I honestly, Michael, I thought that everybody would understand that you just get there and clean. Hey guys, we need to clean things. Let's put things outside. And I didn't think that something so obvious would require me to be telling directions. And when I realized that, a lot of time had passed. And yeah, it would have helped. It would have helped. Mhm. What happened was more like, I understand that you are trying to help, but you are out there in the United States. You don't exactly have the picture of everything that is going on. So you picked up some frustration. I just think that you might have identified the social source of the frustrations on the wrong places. And I was feeling like, no, that's not right. But there are frustrations. It's not like they are in other places, manifesting in other places. And yeah, I lost the, but you got what I'm trying to say. You got what I said. Okay. That's what I think that happened. They are there, the frustrations are there. Your suggestions are helpful to deal with them. It was not in the place that you first imagined that they would be.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being wrong about this. As I was saying a little while ago, is my job is to provoke you to think about this stuff in a different way.
Mhm.
And I'm perfectly okay being wrong about this. I know I can see that there's something there, and I'm scratching at it to see where it's at, so you can actually address it and then move forward with it. Because I want to
And
see you thrive in this.
the coaching business is a patient one, because you come and you try to help, and then I get triggered and I get defensive, and then we disagree and the energy builds up. If you are not a calm person, if you're not patient, and you don't have, it's a matter of energy, the capacity to absorb that energy, not absorb, let's say reflect that energy without actually absorbing and being contaminated by it, or something like that. I might have not used the proper words, but you got what I'm trying to say, right? If you don't have that, it's complicated, because then you don't get to the point that we got, where we can actually be talking and flushing things out and finding useful informations that, if put into practice, they can actually improve what's happening and improve our productivity, tools that can improve our productivity.
Absolutely. So absorbing, not good. Reflecting, not good either.
Yeah.
Because absorbing means I take it on for myself. Reflecting means that there's going to be collateral damage because somebody else is going to take it. Maybe my client, maybe someone else. So it's a lot more about transmutation. It's about taking that energy in, transmuting to something that's positive and providing it back for the person to see it.
Great.
Now, being that there's a little bit of, I'm on the low end of being empathetic, being an empath. I don't pick up on emotions. I don't pick up on items. I'm not that skilled. I'm not that sensitive, but I can feel what some people are getting to. And so that's why I can tell that there is something underneath there. I couldn't tell you what it is. The way that I've actually explained it before for those people who are superhero fans is Spider-Man as an example. His spidey senses go off. Something's wrong. And then Daredevil's, yeah, there's a guy over there 3 miles away with a sniper rifle aimed at your head, because he can sense and see the distinction. I'm Spider-Man. I can sense that something's wrong, but I can't always necessarily pinpoint it. But I can tell when it's gone. So that's where I come from. I can pick up on in the nuance and the words chosen and the way that it's related is that there's something there. And my goal then is to give the opportunity for the person to see it, take away the dust, clean up the top layer, get the rust away so you can actually have a place to paint over it. So then you can actually then move forward. And I do the same thing whenever I'm working with energy. It's the same idea, is that whenever I'm working with energy, it's not a directed point, is much more a matter of spidey senses are on. It's a light switch. It's a switch on or off, rather than I'm working on getting that more as a range, as a gradient. That's something I've been working on for myself for a little while now. So the opportunity here is, as well as if between Bruno and I, we can go here. We've actually gotten to a place where we trust each other enough that he knows I'm not going to say, go away, I don't want to see you anymore, because he's struggling with this. And hoping enough that he trusts me, that he knows that I care about his success, which is why I'm willing to go here with him. And that to me is one of the key components of being a great coach, is not that I want to please him. I'm here to serve him, which I've very much taken from the teachings of Rick Lipton. Is I'm not here to make you warm and fuzzy and make you happy. I'm here to challenge your thinking. I'm here to provoke you to find the answer so that you can then go to the next level of when we're done. And maybe one reason why for me doing massage was always me doing work. It's not about going to the gym and actually not feeling some of that growing pain afterwards. That's what I want as the end result of coaching with me, is that somebody's a little bit sore afterwards, but in 2-3 days, 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months, they're stronger for the work that we've done. They're more limber, they have more endurance, they have more dexterity, and they have more strength.
And thank you for that, Michael. That's a great service.
So go
Sorry?
ahead. So I just want to wrap up in our conversation here. So we talked about a bunch of different things. I've got a particular focus in how I see leadership, which for me is as much about you repeating the vision over and over again until everyone else around you can repeat it back to you verbatim because they've heard it so much. And it's a way to clear out the assumptions of why are we here? Why are we doing this? Then once we know where we're going, which is what that vision is about, we can then start taking the steps we feel is going to be the next best step to get there. Now, in what Bruno is working with right now is, if people can't discern and get creative and inspired to what the next action would be to get to the vision that's next, it's either a lack of creativity on their part, a lack of a sense of what the vision is, or a lack of motivation to get it done, is what I am postulating as some of those triggers. There may be 500 more, but those tend to be the core ones. So, because eventually, as the leader, you want the people that you're leading to be able to go on without you on top of them, you driving them and pressing them forward. And for me, it's that vision that's being cast to them that compels them to want to find the next inspired and creative action in order to create that vision. And that to me is a sign of great leadership.
Yeah, great, Michael. If you wish to, by the way, let's wrap up. I already started. If you wish to, by the way, I can take out that big disagreement about leadership. It's okay. Okay, I don't know. It's the first time that I really see we polarize and you say, yeah, I don't think that's the same thing. Okay.
It shows distinction. That's important. And we
Okay,
don't need
cool.
to agree in order to have powerful stances on what we do in the world. The people that are going to
Cool.
work with you are going to be different than the people who are going to work with me, and that's okay.
And sorry about my health right now, because it's just like nose is giving no break.
Hey, that's where you're at right now. I get it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm happy
Very
that you're
uncomfortable.
here. I'm happy that you're here doing this with me while you're sick. Thank you for showing
Yeah.
up, because that's
You too, bro.
really important.
Thank you. Yeah.
So as we wrap up here, just want to thank you. We've been going on for a little over an hour at this point, so I appreciate you sticking this out. I appreciate you spending this time with us. If this has been valuable for you, please engage with us. Give us some feedback on how we're doing. You get to choose what that is. I'm not going to tell you push this or click that or do this or whatever. I want you to engage with us because that's how we know whether what we're doing is in alignment with people out there. Positive, negative, sideways, upside down. Please let us know how this lands for you. We'd love to hear from you. We appreciate you spending this time with us. My name is Michael Danklefs of Elevate Your Best.
And I am Bruno Martins, and thank you guys. It's always good to talk with you all.
Have a great day.
Michael, bye-bye.
Bye.